Right now, an Arizona National Guard unit is headed up to Wisconsin to help with a protest and unrest that has caused devastation in Kenosha.
Protests started after police shot a black man in Kenosha earlier this week.
12 News Team 12's Mark Liverman has the details on the Arizona unit that's headed north.
In a summer of unrest and racial tension nationwide, the Arizona National Guard is sending more than 150 troops. Here's what we know so far about the role they'll play. Activists are taking a stand in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The tension's so high that Wisconsin has declared a state of emergency. Protesting after the shooting of Jacob Blake, demonstrators filling the streets there for nearly a week. Some of them throwing bottles and shooting fireworks at law enforcement. Police responding with tear gas as they try to enforce curfew. Now the Arizona National Guard is being deployed to assist.
The law enforcement there are a team to ensure that people have the freedom and the safety to execute their freedom of speech rights in a safe environment.
The unit will join hundreds of other National Guard members from multiple states in an effort to provide support.
And it'll be much like the missions that we did here in Arizona back in June when the local law enforcement here needed some additional assistance.
The Arizona unit is deploying from Tucson, with troops coming from all over the state.
And they train specifically on providing that support to law enforcement in civil unrest type situations. And part of that training is ensuring that they have the skills to de-escalate if they can, and to limit the use of force to only what's necessary.
Protests in Wisconsin turned deadly this week. The escalation definitely a factor in the unit's deployment, but Brigadier General Joseph Baldwin says a lot goes into determining where troops get sent and when.
It really depends on what else is going on in the world or in the country. So obviously what's going on in Wisconsin is not the only thing that's happening in the United States right now.
Arizona is one of 3 states sending troops because they're not tied up with natural disasters or other missions. Yesterday, Governor Ducey issued a statement saying, in part, "We support public safety everywhere, and we stand ready to support Wisconsin now in their time of need." General Baldwin says the Arizona troops should start working on specific missions over the next few days. In Phoenix, Mark Liverman, 12 News.